The panel browser is the main workspace in Flix. This is where your boards appear, so you'll be spending most of your time in this layout. To import boards, you can simply drag and drop a folder onto the window. Each panel has a unique ID. This never changes, as it's handy for everyone on a production to have a common reference to each individual panel. The second number here is the position of the panel in your edit. So for example, if I move a couple of panels into a different position, you'll notice this number changes whilst the panel ID remains the same. We can go ahead and undo that. You'll also notice that after making any change, the Save button illuminates. Each time you save, Flix records the state of your sequence at that exact moment in time and creates a new revision on the sequences page. This is so you can always go back to a previous version, no matter how minor the change might have been. It's very easy to step through your edit by using the arrow keys. You can even jump down rows like this. Or you can go over to the player and press the play button to run through your sequence. Every panel is set with the default duration of 12 frames. But you can change that here in the Properties menu if you like. Moving panels around this interface is very intuitive. Down the left side are all the editing tools you will need. For example, you can select a panel and either cut, copy, or paste it. Hold Shift and click to select a sequence of panels, or hold Ctrl and click individual ones to select a group. Click here and drag left or right to resize the viewer window. A director or head of story always needs a quick and visual way of passing back notes to story artists. So that's why we have the Annotation Tool. It's a really good way of drawing ideas directly onto a panel in a non-destructive way. Let's say I want to add a sunset to this panel. I just click on the Annotation Tool, which is this pencil icon, and it brings up a toolbar. From here I can adjust the brush size and choose a color. Then I just draw an approximation of my idea. If I make a mistake, I can use the eraser tool. Or if I change my mind, I can just delete the annotation. A handy thing to know is that annotations apply to whichever panels are selected. In this case, this shot involved 4 panels. So I select all 4, then draw my annotation, and it's applied to each panel. You can also see that any panels with annotations display this pencil icon and have a yellow box drawn around the image, so they're easily distinguishable. Another useful tool is the Highlight tool, which allows you to mark out individual panels. Let's say I want to highlight this particular panel because I know it needs fixing. I just select it and then click on the Highlight tool. If I click and hold on the tool, additional highlight colors become available. You can create a color code. So for example, maybe red means high priority fixes, whereas green denotes a panel has been given creative sign-off by the director and is not to be touched. Up here is the Filter tool, which allows me to filter my edit to only show panels that have annotations or highlights. This is useful for managing a long sequence which may have many annotations or highlighted boards, so you can always find what you need quickly. You can add dialogue to every panel by simply clicking on the Dialog tab and typing like this. But if you want to focus solely on the dialogue editing, you can go up to this menu and change the workspace layout from story to dialogue. There is also another advantage to this layout. The Dialog Layout displays your panels with the full masking area visible. So my fictional jiu-jitsu drama probably illustrates this best because of its aspect ratio. In the story layout, you're seeing images that only include the active picture area, and that's important. But when you switch to the dialogue view, you see the whole image including the letterbox mask. And here is where artists might have drawn some dialogue or written notes that are important, and you need to see them. So now that I see this on a board that's come from an artist, I can just enter that dialogue straight into Flix. Here's one final feature of the Dialog tool that you'll find useful. Let's add some new dialogue to this panel. Let's say I rethink this and I want to see what the previous line was. I click on the Dialog History tool here, and Flix has kept track of every version of every line that was entered on that panel. So if I change my mind, I can just select an old one and save. Thanks for watching.